Good evening and welcome back to our question and answer series for Anash.org. We'll concentrate on a couple of questions which he has received for in Yom Kippur, or questions which is constantly come up. Question: the Alter Rebbe writes in Simah Tufresh Tez Zayin Sivuv that a child 11 years old, a male and a female, a boy and a girl, should fast the full day midrabonon on Yom Kippur. Then he brings Yesh Omram. Some say that even children, even a girl 11 years old and a boy 12 years old, that means the last year of their childhood, do not have to fast, even midrabonon. And he finalizes, even though the halacha is like the first shitta, that they are mechiyev to fast, midrabanan, a child which is weak and is not strong to fast could rely on the second yesh omram, and they don't have to fast and they could eat. Then a little bit later, this was in Sivov. Then in Siv Yud Aleph, the Alter Rebbe writes, the reason why today's day we are not medagdik, we don't push that children, a child from 11 years old should fast, since all of us learn Torah, and Torah weakens a person, a Torah mateshes koiche shaludom, so they are considered weak children, and therefore we rely on the poskim, and a child from 11 years old does not have to fast. Now the question is the Alter Rebbe in Sif Yud Aleph only defending the not fasting of age 11, like the Bach, but age 12, a boy age 12 should still fast, like the Riv Ramam and Rashi? Or is it a blanket heter for even a child of 12 years old not to fast? This is a very good question, and when you learn the Alter Rebbe inside, not necessarily that he gives a blanket heter that a boy from 12 years old should not fast. And that's why in Sif Yud Aleph he writes, Masha Aim Medagdikim, today's day we are not makpat that children from 11 years old should fast, and he gives the reason because they learn Torah, but he doesn't mention a 12-year-old boy too, because the Bach only takes this heter for an 11-year-old boy, not for a 12-year-old boy. So from the Alter Rebbe we could say that a 12-year-old boy could and should fast. You could say no, it means from 11 and it means also 12. But the Alter Rebbe writes 11, and also he writes in the footnote in the Marmakoimas the Bach. So it's not clear. But Lamasa, the minig today's day is that if we see a child which is a weak child and cannot fast, we are lenient, we are Michael, even a 12-year-old boy not to fast the full day. Because the Eliyah Rabba writes on the words Rach v'kochish, a weak child, he writes Imanageni, our custom is B'chol tenoikes, all children are like that we consider them all weak, since they learn Torah, and so we consider them as choilem, and therefore we are lenient, they shouldn't fast. And in Alichas Even Yisrael from Rav Fisher, Peirik Tezvuf Sif Dalat Ahura 7, is medayik from the Eliyah Rabba, that the Eliyah Rabba learned that this heter is not only on an 11-year-old boy, it's also on a 12-year-old boy, that the minig was not to fast if he's weak. And he finishes over there, Rav Fisher, in Alichas Even Yisrael, that at least he doesn't need to fast more than half a day. So to answer your question, in the Alter Rebbe we could learn both ways, but the minig is at least a child which we could see on him that he is weak, and fasting a whole day will make him even more weak, or maybe be getting sick. We could rely on the El Yerabba as the Evin Yisrael learns in it, and even a 12-year-old boy should not fast the full day. Now, if you have a child which is strong and he wants to fast full day, when he's already 12 years old, you could let him fast. Question: a person which is sick or is in bidut, that means there's a lockdown, he cannot go out, he cannot make a porous, Erev Yom Kippur, on a chicken. What should you do? Now the solution to this is, if you could bring a chicken to his home and he makes kaporas, Erev Yom Kippur, and then he takes it back to the shoychet, that will be the best thing. But if this is not an option, for instance, if somebody is in lockdown, so it's not an option, so if a person has in his house aquarium from fish, he could use live fish. Because we see the Elef Hamugen in Simon Tufrei Shai Sifkud Yidalef, that's in Mata Ephraim printed, writes, V'chayna hagi harba lomda teure. This is the custom of a lot of lomda teure, Tamid Chomam, likach dogim lakapuris, that they take fish for kapuris. So although the minig is that we take a tanigl, as it is stated in Alter Rebbe clearly, and the Sifrei Kabbalah, but we have no choice, then you could use live fish if you have. But if you don't have these two, then you should take money and the worth of a live chicken, as much as a live chicken costs, you take, and you make kaporas with money. This is what it's written in Chaya Odom Klal Kif Mem Gimel Siv Dalet, and it's interesting that it's also in a small pamphlet, a Kinteres which Kahos gave out in 1944. It's called Seider Kiddush Tfilis L'Rosh Hashanah Til Simchas Torah, and over there it's written that if you don't have a chicken for kaporas, you can take money, and you should take money at the cost which a live chicken is on the market. So a person which is a choila, he's sick, or he's in lockdown, and he cannot make a porous on a chicken, he could make it on money, and then the money he gives for tzedakah. Question: a person which is in a lockdown, he cannot go out, and he wants to be b'kaim the minig of Malkus Erev Yom Kippur. What should he do? We know the Alter Rebbe writes there was a minig that every person gets Malkus, and he writes over there what you should say. V'hirachim, a person which doesn't have, cannot go in shul, and he wants to have this minig, could his son make this minig on a father? Because Halacha says that if the time of the Beis Hamikdash, if a person was Mechiv Malkus, if the Shlich Bezin was his son, he could not give Malkus for his father. So the question is, could he ask your son that he should give Malkus Erev Yom Kippur when you're in a lockdown? And the answer is yes, since it's not real Malkus, it's only symbolic, so it's not considered that a child hits his father, and therefore he could give Malkus. And this is how it says in Shal Shivas Ba'er Surim Chayleg Aleph or Chaim Simarash Mem Aleph Azvov, that even a child could give Malkus for his father Erev Yom Kippur. Now if you have someone else, it's preferable, but if you don't have someone else, you could ask your child to do it. Question: a person which is sick and he needs to eat on Yom Kippur, does he need to make Kiddush, and if he washes, does he need to make Lechem Mishnah? And the answer is, you don't need to make Kiddush, and you don't need to have Lechem Mishnah. Chazal was not masaken Kiddush on Yom Kippur, and there was masaken you should have Lechem Mishnah. So although you are permitted to eat, and not only permitted, in some cases you are mechiv to eat, because you have to watch your health. A person which is sick, and he has to eat according to the doctors. But he does not make Kiddush and make Lechem Mishnah. If he washes to bread, if he eats Puchsim Kashir, because even a choili, if he doesn't need to eat a lot, so he cannot eat according to the Halacha the Shir, he has to eat Puchsim Kashir. So therefore, he cannot wash, he cannot make a bracha on a Tilis Yadayim. A bracha on a Tilis Yadayim you only make if you eat Kebaitza. If you eat less than Kebaitza, we don't make a bracha. And we have to know this all year round. If a person eats only a Kezayis, not Kebaitza, he has to wash the Tilis Yadayim, but he cannot make a bracha. This is how the Alter Rebbe writes in Hilchos Tilis Yadayim. So if a person, a choila, if he eats less than the shir, then he should not make a bracha on the Tilis Yadayim, even though he has to wash his hands. But if he eats more than a shir, if in a situation that he has to wash and eat a kabeitza, then he should make a bracha on the Tilis Yadayim. Question: a person which needs to eat or drink l'she'irim, that means less than the shir, every 7 minutes or every 9 minutes, it depends according to which shitta, he has to drink less than a schnapps cup, less than an ounce. Does he make every time he drinks or he eats a bracha rishoina, or he doesn't? The answer to this is that if he doesn't have Hesed Chadas, that means he knows that after 9 or 7 minutes he's going to eat again, he does not make a bracha rishoina, because he doesn't have any Hesed Chadas. If he does not know that he's going to eat again, he thinks that it might be enough what he ate already once or twice, and not necessarily is going to eat again. Then when he eats again, if he needs, then he has to make a bracha rishoina another time. But if he knows that he will have to eat every 10 minutes, for instance, then he does not make a bracha rishoina every time, because there was no Hesed Chadas. Kemuvan, of course, he does make a bracha achroina, because he ate less than the shir. Question: if a person needs to eat on Yom Kippur and he washes, does he say Yalav Yuvoy? And if he forgot to say Yalav Yuvoy, he reminded before starting the fourth bracha, Atoiva Maitiv, does he say Asher Nosan? The answer is, a person eats according to the shir and he needs to bench, yes, he makes, and it says Yalav Yuvoy in benching. But if he forgot to say Yalav Yuvoy and reminded himself after saying Boin Yerushalayim, before starting Berchas Tova Maitiv, he does not say the bracha Asher Nosan on Yom Kippur. Question: a person which is in bed Yom Kippur and wants to go in shul, and he knows if he will go to shul, he might become in a situation that he will have to eat, even Pachas Makashir, but he will have to eat something. And if he stays in bed in an air conditioned room, he won't need to eat anything, but he won't daven with a minyan, he won't daven tefillah b'tzibur. What should he do? Should he stay in bed and not daven tefillah b'tzibur and go to shul, or go to shul, even though he might eat less than a shear? And the answer is obvious. You stay home, you stay in bed, and you don't daven b'tzibur. And even if you stay in bed, you won't daven. Don't daven, but don't go to shul because you're going to need to eat. Even you're going to eat pachs mekashir, which is only a drabonan. It's not a drabonan. It's not a mechiev. It's not a chiev koras, but it's still aser. Pachs mekashir is aser min ha-Torah. And therefore, if a person has the option to stay in bed, not go in shul daven, and therefore he will be able to fast regularly, he should stay in bed and not go to shul. And this goes also to women, which if they are going to stay in bed, they will be able to fast regularly. And if they'll come out from bed and take care of the children, they might have to eat even pachas mekashir. They should stay in bed and not take care of their children, and the husband should not go in shul and stay home and take care of the children, in order that his wife should be able to fast on Yom Kippur, because fasting on Yom Kippur is a mitzvah min ha-Torah, and therefore rather she should fast Yom Kippur staying in bed than the husband going in shul and daven with a tzibur. He could daven at home biyichidus. Question: a person which feels very, very weak and he might get sick, he'll have to eat. But if he's going to take a cold shower, he might not have to eat, and that will help him. Could he take a shower in Yom Kippur, a cold shower? And the answer is yes. He should rather take a shower, a cold shower on Yom Kippur, rather than not taking a shower and eventually have to eat even pachas mekashir. Question: a person which stays home on Yom Kippur, can he say Yizkor at home? And does it say Overachmim? And the answer is yes. Yizkor does not necessarily need a minyan, and therefore, if you stay home, you say Yizkor at home and you say Overachmim. This is how it stays. It says in Shal Shiv the Dua Yasuda Semid Bais. Question: can all my children light Yom Tov candles for Yom Kippur in the same room? This is a very complicated question and a complicated answer, and I'm going to make it clear in a few words. The halacha is Shabbos. There's two reasons why you have to light Shabbos candles, Shabbos and Yom Tov. One reason is in order where you eat, it should be light over there, because when you eat in a place where there is light, it gives you a special enjoyment in the food when it's more light. So therefore, the more light you have, the geschmacker it is to eat your Shabbos food. So therefore, all the children could light on the Shabbos table because they're going to eat there. And there is a thing, it's called Toisves Eure, adding on oil. When you add on oil, there is a geschmack, a special geschmack, enjoyment when you eat. So therefore, you could add on, even a person lit candles already on the table, someone else could light on the same table, because Toisves Eure. But there's another reason also why you light candles Shabbos and Yom Tov. It is that when you go in a room and it's dark, you might trip, and therefore it's not Shalom Bayis. Chazal did not want that the house should be a mess, and the house should be a way that the people will fall and will make machloikus or problems at home. So therefore you light candles. You should be, any room which you go there on Shabbos, you have to have a candle. But over there the poskim say you can only light candles one person. Two people cannot light in a room which nobody eats, because there's no such thing as adding on light where you go. Once you have a light even it's a light bulb which is a 15 watt, you have 2 candles from a person, putting on another 2 candles won't help that much because you could see already. So there's no such thing as Toisvus Eure, a place where you don't eat, only a place where you eat. Now a regular Shabbos, when a person has a couple of children which light Shabbos candles, as our custom is from the 3 years old and older, they light candles. So all the children could light on the Shabbos tish, on the table of Shabbos, because there's such thing as Toisvus Eure. But when it comes to Yom Kippur, then you don't have a Shabbos Seder. Once one person lights already in that room, or even once there is electric in that room, you cannot light over there anymore Shabbos candles, because there's no such thing as Toisvus Eure. So the solution to this is that either you make every child should light in a separate bedroom the candles, and make sure there shouldn't be any light in that room. That means only the candles will be the thing which lit up the room. Or if you have a child which you give a bottle, a small baby child, which you make a bottle food, you make him food at night for a baby bottle at night, then everybody could light in that room. Because the Alter Rebbe writes that Toisvus Eure is a place where you eat or a place where you prepare food in that room. So if you're going to prepare a bottle for a child, then all the children could light in that room which you prepare the bottle. That means in the kitchen. You make sure there's no light in the kitchen, only the candles, and then everybody could light in the same room. But if you don't have a child which needs a bottle or could eat or will eat something at night, you have to make sure every child lights in a room which there isn't any light, and only he lights in that room and no one else. Question. By Birches Kehanim, we say a paragraph starting with the words Reboine Shaloilam. When the Kehanim sing the last 3 words, what if the Kehanim doesn't sing by those words? When do I say this paragraph? And the answer is you don't say it. The Alter Rebbe writes clearly that you only say when the Kehanim are singing. You cannot say this Reboine Shaloilam when they are saying the words of Birches Kehanim. So if a place which the Kehanim do not sing, you don't say this paragraph. Good night. Thank you for joining us, and please join us next week again and send in the questions to inbox@Anash.org. Gemar Chasima Toive, and have a gewaldige, simchedige Yom Kippur.